Hello everyone, welcome to Slipjoint Sawyer. Today we're going to be doing an open tag response to my good friend John over at Thrifty Kniffy's open tag, which is Super Sack Saturday. Very simple, show us a Swiss Army knife on a Saturday. We've both got really nice collections of these, and I will say we've got quite a few to show, so we're going to be banging these out every Saturday. So I really hope you guys are enjoying this. And along with that, this knife I'm going to show you, the Old Cross Pioneer, as you've seen from the title, was picked up from my good friend Dan over at Blade Bridge Customs. Make sure you're checking him out. I will put his website and his Instagram in the description below. He's got some fantastic sort of older, rarer pieces for sale on his website at the moment. So make sure you're checking him out and picking yourself up a bargain, because I can't find anyone that gives a better deal than Dan. His prices are very, very fair compared to some of the prices I've seen on the market secondary, especially on Etsy. Dan is by far the best person to go to, and he will try and source you it as well if you drop him a message. So please make sure you're checking him out. But we were taking a look at the Pioneer today, and not just any regular Pioneer. This is an Old Cross Pioneer, so a very early one. And judging by my sort of research, we're looking at sort of a pre-84, and I'll go through some of the reasons why that may be. But here we have it. Old Cross Pioneer, the original red Alox scales on this. It's a 93mm, so you can see the closed length of that being 3.7 inches closed. And I actually have a newer of the Pioneers to compare it to, and you can see right away, of course, you know, we've got the silver is the original now, and the shield has actually been updated since then. But we'll look at the differences in a second. Of course, this is not a sort of a new old stock. It has been used and carried and loved by someone, so you can see this really nice sort of natural patina on the scales, and that's more of a wear patina than some sort of a, you know, dyeing of the metal. See this wonderful pressed Alox scales then, the nice Victorinox cross here, wonderfully stamped in, nice and silver. We got brass pins holding this thing together, done really well. It's a 2-layer design, and you will notice the tools are actually a little bit thicker on the older ones than they are on the new, but that's one thing we'll come across and compare. And along with that, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but pre-84, so from 57, that's 1957 when the first one came about, to about 1984, some point in that year, they actually swapped from doing the brass liners, which this has. So you can see this has brass liners all the way around, and we also have a brass keyring loop, and I just popped this little brass tab on the end as I thought it was nice to match with the cross. And yeah, and after this they went to the nickel silver, and then on to the aluminum, which they use now. But very sort of standard tool set really for the original. Let's take a look at some of those tools. So on the front we have the tin opener with the small flathead screwdriver. Nice clean nail neck on there. And I will say the action on these tools and the condition this was given to me from Dan is superb for its age. I'm going to go with it's between that sort of, I knew they started putting key rings on these around the late sort of 70s, mid to late 70s. So I'm going to go from about 77 to 84. I'm going to date this, but it's pretty much impossible to get it any closer than that. Well, the nail neck on there, and you'll see none of the stonewash finish on this. We actually have, see the grind lines on the edge of this where it's been done. Grind lines on the back here as well. Edge is still really nice on this tin opener. It has been used. It does need a little bit of touching up. You can see where it's gone a bit flat on the end there, but that's something I look forward to sort of refurbing. And you can see the stock on this tool is actually quite nice and thick. So I actually would be happy to sort of pry with these tools. Maybe not so much the can opener, but the cap lifter definitely. Nice snap on that as well still. Left hand side then, we have the larger flathead screwdriver with the cap lifter and the wire bender down here. And you can see the grind lines on here as well. And on the back, and you can see this has had some love. It's been used. And that's what I love about picking up these older knives. Would I love a new old stock one? 100%. Do I love this one that's been used? Yes, because I will carry this, and I do on a regular basis. It's fantastic to use. Nice snap, nice half stop on there as well. And this is what I was saying. Tools are slightly thicker, so I'd have no problem using this as a pry. In fact, I already have. I've used it to pry things, and it's fantastically sturdy. Speaking of sturdy, actually, one of the things I should have mentioned really at the start, on the early years of the Pioneer, it was actually nicknamed the Sturdy Boy for being such a, such a strong use knife, hard use knife. I think that's a brilliant name they gave it. So Victorinox Pioneer, aka the Sturdy Boy. Earlier models of this as well, you'll notice on the back there's no panel to have them engraved, whereas you can see the newer models had the panel put on there as well. Really nice classic Victorinox blade here. You can see we've got Victorinox, Switzerland stainless, and then Rostfry. And Dan put a screaming edge on this. And look at that. This is the sharpest I've ever had a knife from him. And when I say it's sharp, it's scary sharp. Like really, really, really sharp. See a little bit of rubbing on the blade there, but it's an old knife. It's been used and abused. That's what I was sort of looking for. But you can see that really nice thick stock on the blade. Blade length then on this older one, pretty much identical really to the new one in terms of blade length. So we've got 1 to 2.75 inches, and if we compare that to the new one, I'm pretty sure they're pretty much identical. Yeah, pretty much spot on. Maybe lost a tiny bit of length due to it being sharpened over the years, but all the specs are pretty much the same. Just the newer one has a little bit thinner tools. I don't know if you're going to pick it up on camera, but you can kind of see they're a little bit thinner, especially on like the cap lifter. You can see how thin it is here and how much thicker these two tools are. Of course, you can see the difference there of the brass liners as well. I really wish they carried on making it with those. I think it looks fantastic with brass on there. Really nice action on this. It's definitely about a 7 pull here. Really nice lockup. And I use this thing, as I mentioned in the video, and I've got no problem like abusing this thing. Yes, it's an older knife. Yes, I only have one, but for me, because of the sort of the natural history of it, it's been used, it's been carried, I'm happy to beat down on this thing. Finally then, on the back, we have the inline punch or reamer. So you've got that nice little lip here, which hangs over the scale and acts as sort of a nail nick and to stop it going down any further. Really nice action on that, nice punch on the end. Kind of sharpened here into like a chisel grind, but not sharp enough to cut you. And again, no half stop on any of these apart from on the cap lifter. Some comparisons then. As I've been mentioning throughout the video, it's very sort of minor stuff, to be honest. Of course, they've gone from being red original to the silver, and they've changed the shield up from being the classic Swiss cross into this shield with the Swiss cross in it. Blade length exactly the same. Tools, as I mentioned, slightly thicker on the older style. See if we can do a bit of a better comparison for that if I get them up side by side. You can see a little bit more width here rather than on this one. Bit more width at the tip as well. Nail nicks are different as well. You've got bigger nail nicks on the newer one. You can just see the little bit more thickness to the older one. Just make it very sturdy when you're using it. Comparison on the can openers then. Very, very similar. Again, you can see the thickness difference in these. It's about 3/4 the amount as thick as it is this one. And of course, imagine how good this would look with the brass liners in it. But yeah, very happy to pick this one up. Been looking out for a very, very long time to find an Old Cross Pioneer. All I've got now to sort of complete my sort of Pioneer set, really, of what I'm looking out for, is a birth year, which will be a 1991. So hopefully I can pick one of those up soon. But I really hope you enjoyed this review and comparison between the Victorinox Old Cross Pioneer, pre sort of 84 we're looking at, and the newer model. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.